Alright you guys, so we are back with another adventure. Today we are actually in the city of Dallas, where on May 27th, 1864, there was a big battle that took place here at Pickett's Mill. The commanding general for the Union side was William Sherman, who was trying to attack the right flank of Johnston's army, which kind of ended up kind of failing Sherman, because the ultimate result of this battle was a Confederate victory. Now the commanding officers on the battlefield for the Union was General Howard, and for Johnston's army it was General Claiborne. Now, how many people was actually killed on this battle site? Well, for the Union, there was 1,600 casualties, and then there was 500 casualties for the Confederate army. So we're going to go ahead and walk around the site and kind of see what's going, see some of the attractions here, some of the trenches here. They are also letting me know that they're actually doing a live cannon shooting off every half hour. So we're going to take a peek at that, and also get that for you guys and bring that content to you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I love you guys.
It's a street.
I'm going to record walking a little bit. This is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess today you're going to see a cannon fire, baby.
Yeah, right.
You have a Union behind you.
I know he's still a river. Is
You want to talk to him?
is
Huh?
is this is the same trail we were on last time, was it?
Yeah. You go up here to the what time is it?
36.
Okay, so what you do is you go up here, you can go and look at the cabin real quick, come back down, take a quick right. Remember that open field that we seen?
Yeah.
That's where they're shooting the cannon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is on the hour and a half hour. We're taking a lunch break right now.
No, that's cool. I think it's gonna be kind of fascinating. Oh, here we go. Probably right here. You can still smell it. So we can. That's the cannon. I guess they're shooting off right there.
Walk up to the cabin and we'll come back.
It smells like mine.
And they said you can ask questions if you want to.
I want to do one, Mom.
That's the cannon
That's the canyon.
right here.
I've seen them on movies or
Father, that's the camera shit. I want the thing open.
Do you want to walk into the cabin or do you want to stay right here?
We can go to the cabin.
I mean, it'd be troops on the move.
I wish I could get them next
Got a long
to
way
it.
to go.
Most of the time they did it right shoulder shift.
Ask them.
Think they'll do it?
Get dressed.
Oh, no, it's all right. Go ahead. Do your thing.
What did it say?
I'm gonna get them up there. I'll sit there.
There will not be a loud boom. We will let you know when there will be a loud boom. Most of the sound goes that way. It shouldn't hurt anybody. But when we let you know there will be a loud boom, please be aware. If you have sensitive ears, if you have a hearing aid, or if you have dogs that might not like it to go boom, be aware that it will go boom. We give you plenty of advanced warning. The initial drilling, it's not much sound at all. And as I said, most of the sound goes that way. It shouldn't hurt anybody. It's more startling than anything. But once again, as I've said for the 8th or 9th time, there will be a loud boom. This gun during the war would have used a full pound of black powder. We use a blank. We use a half pound, so we're using half of a normal charge. It's still relatively loud. Who here knows how long a football field is?
100 yards.
100 yards. Who can guess the effective range? This is what is called a 3-inch ordnance rifle. My gun is not rifled, this one, or my gun is not rifled, theirs were. How far do you think a rifled 3-inch ordnance rifle, how many football fields could it go? Take a wild guess.
Maybe 3,
Keep going,
5,
keep going,
8,
keep going.
10.
20.
Jesus.
This had an effective range. Now, during the American
Golly.
Civil War, nobody shot 2,000 yards. You couldn't see anybody. I mean, that's a few hundred yards and you can't see anybody. Technology in the 1850s and 1860s, warfare basically came out of the Napoleonic Wars out of Europe. The idea is you had long rows of men. They would march into each other with short distance weapons, shoot each other, and whoever had the most standing up basically won. A lot of people felt that was an inefficient way to have warfare, so they started inventing things like better artillery, the repeating rifle. If you've watched a John Wayne Western, John Wayne has what are called Winchesters. That's a repeating rifle that loads faster. That was invented by Mr. Henry during the American Civil War and was actually used during the Civil War. Single shot musket, which he has back there, that shoots one shot at a time and it's muzzle loaded. It's relatively slow. A Henry shoots faster. They invented a repeating cannon back then. It was called a Gatling gun. They took that to the Federal War Office. They used to take those out with all the dignitaries. They would show the new weapons. They showed it. Somebody decided it killed people too fast. So they used it at one battle during the Civil War, and then they sent it out west to kill American Indians. It was heavily used out west. But it was too uncivilized to use during the American Civil War because it shot too fast. Technology at this time period jumped over the tactics. And that's why over 685,000 men died in those 4 years. Any questions? Yes, sir.
How does the gun work? How does
Good
the
question.
big cannon work?
It's a segue.
You get a $5 bill.
Confederate.
Pesos. Weapons today, if you put the round in the back, it loads faster. They didn't have the way to do that back then. So what you'll see today during the drill, that is called a limber box or an ammo box. You'll watch somebody walk up here in a lead or a leather pouch. He's got an explosive round. He'll bring it up to here. You'll see somebody push a rammer down. That puts the charge to the rear of the gun. Up here, there's a hole that we put a priming, what's called a priming wire into it. If you can think of a little copper tube full of fulminated mercury, basically what's on a match head, there's a wire inside that. You strike that hits the chemical, that sends a charge down into the charge that expels the gun. It's a fairly slow process. If we're trained right, we can get a couple of minutes off, but that ammo box might have 30 to 45 rounds, so if you shoot 2 a minute, you're out of weapon pretty fast. So they didn't typically shoot quickly unless the troops were coming at them quickly, then they would, obviously. You had multiple types of shells coming out of this. The first one was a solid ball. If you're a long line of men 2 deep and a ball hits you, we might take out 1 or 2, maybe 3. That's a very ineffective way to use artillery. Then they invented a ball with a hole in it. They put gunpowder into it and a fuse. The idea is it would go over the heads and go off over your heads to do more damage. Once your troops got closer, if you can imagine a tennis ball can full of pieces of metal about that big, that would go out like a shotgun straight at the troops and do a lot of damage. That was used here by Keyes Battery, the Confederate guns, that night, and to extreme effective capability. Other questions? But you'll see, we're going to go through some non-firing drills where you'll see how they load this, and then we will put a blank in it and make it go boom. We do need a volunteer for somebody to go catch the cannonball that we shoot. Any volunteers?
I'll go catch it.
If anybody ever
I'm
does
just kidding.
ever ask you to do that.
But what do you
Who
think
all
of
is
this?
their first visit to Pickett's Mill? So we got repeat offenders. Very good. Thanks for coming out. A lot of people ask, this is a state park as opposed to Kennesaw Mountain, which is a federal park. We're all volunteers that help the park here. None of us are employees of the park. If you do have an interest in living history, our unit is very family oriented. Kids come out, grandparents come out, whatever. We do a lot of cooking around camp. We have a good time. Most of us are based out of the Marietta, Paulding County, Cobb County area. So if this is something interesting to your family, let us know. It is not an expensive hobby, but you're most welcome to inquire and let us know. The final thing is, if you're on Facebook, there is a Friends of Pickett's Mill blah 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 Facebook page. Please go there, like it. We try to tell people what we have. We also do other family events at the cabin, like cooking. On the 22nd of April, there is an 1864 cooking demonstration that will be by the Visitor Center. You'll come out and see how they cook in cast iron and cook. And then on the 29th of April, the end of this month, or May, there is the anniversary of the battle that happened here. All day Saturday they'll have troops out here. We're going to have a commemoration of the battle actually happening at 2 o'clock out here. So you're most welcome to come out to that and see what it actually looked like.
Me.
Any other questions before we get started? Time to stump the interpreters. Okay. From a safety standpoint, while we do this, we want you behind this wooden and the limber for safety people. I need everybody back.
Baby, come back here.
Shoot them, they'll move.
Gotta come behind this wood.
If you are also out here at the end of the month, Pickett's Mill is known for chiggers. Keep that in mind. We are world famous for chigger deck.
Where are they mostly? Off the trail.
Off the trails in the leaves.
What?
That spot right where you are is one of their prime areas. Okay,
Perry. This isn't happening. My ear.
Come on, Dave.
let's go back to our first crew. Go ahead and swap out your implements. Go to the first crew. There is an event, if you like Civil War, next weekend up I-75 called Resaca. It's actually a reenactment. It'll be next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Kind of neat for the families to come out. You can watch a mock battle. They've got butlers with period food for sale and stuff. Kind of a neat way to spend the weekend. During the war, they used to drill the men under fire. They wanted what was called muscle memory, so that you didn't think about what you were doing. You'll notice when the guys take their position, at the front of the gun on the right is called number 1. Across from him is number 2. Directly behind number 1 is number 3. Directly behind number 2 is number 4. There was 5, 6, 7, and 8, and so on. They drilled and drilled and drilled so that they could literally do this in their sleep. And if they're being shot at, they didn't have to think about it. They just literally let their muscles react.
What's up my ear?
When a detachment was brought together, if they were milling around waiting for battle, a artillery gun was called a detachment. 2 guns together was called a section. That had a commander. If you had 2 sections together or 4 guns, that was called a battery, which also had a commander. To bring them together, they would post on the limber. They would get their implements that were stored inside the limber box, and then they would be told to move forward to the gun, advance on the gun, march. Being previously drilled, they would know exactly where to go. And you'll notice number 1, number 2, 3 behind 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to the rear. The first couple of times we're going to do this, we're going to go through a non-explosive drill. You're going to actually see them do everything. Nothing will go boom. And then we'll let you know when we're going to go hot. Everybody got ears? Everybody got gloves? Some of what we do deviates from the way they did back then for safety purposes. Back then they didn't wear gloves on the front of the gun. We do for safety purposes. We use earplugs, they didn't. Here's another tough question. See the red that's on his uniform? Any idea what that was for? During the war, and even today's military, each branch of the military has a certain color. Red was artillery, yellow was cavalry, blue was infantry, green was medical corps, sharpshooter, and other specialty, and then they also had black. By this time during the war, they had basically stripped anything red off their uniforms because they had invented long-range, what were called sniper rifles today. They were called sharpshooters back then. They would shoot from the trees at a distance, and if they saw red, they knew you were artillery. The first thing I tried to put out of commission was the artillery because we did a lot of damage. So by 64, a lot of times the mounted jackets like David has and Poppy has still had part of the piping on it because that was part of the jacket. And that was more of a status symbol. We ready? Michael, you good? You good? Everybody got ears? Okay, the first command, you're going to hear a series of 3 commands: load, prime, and fire. There is a much longer drill than that. We've been doing this so long, we abbreviate it. That allows us to shoot faster. You could at other places see a much more drawn out procedure. The first command they're given, for drill purposes only, without shell, and the command is load. Number 3 goes in with a brush and cleans off any gunk. Black powder is very gummy. He gets out of the stuff out of the vent. He covers that vent hole. The vent hole, when your thumb is over it, when that rammer pulls out of it, it creates a vacuum. If there's any embers down that barrel from the previous fire, that vacuum eliminates oxygen, and supposedly the embers don't burn anymore. So it's a safety function. He's going in with a wet mop or a sponge. That also tries to kill any of the embers.
I hear it like this one. I hear it.
At this point, he turns his sponge mop around. He rams the shell home. At this point, the shell is back near number 3. They're waiting for a command. Prime. He goes in with a metal stick, punctures the powder bag. Then he goes in with what's called a priming wire. It's a copper tube full of a chemical that allows, when it's pulled, it fires the gun. Ready! You'll notice.
Maybe moth. It is.
You'll notice that they've all moved outside the wheel. If this had a shell in it, that gun kicks about 6 feet. If you're behind the wheel, you have a bad day. Fire. Boom. For drill purposes only, without shell. Load. You'll notice he picks up a shell out of the limber box, brings it forward. Who here knows what we pull the limber with to move it around? Did we have Ford trucks back then? Typically they would have between 4 and 6 horses.
That's actually pretty cool.
He's once again round home. Prime. Ready. Fire. Boom. Any questions before we go live?
Go ahead and wet it now.
Okay. Once again, you'll hear load, prime. On the command fire, it will go boom. It doesn't hurt you to lightly cover your ears, and you can even open your mouth. That sometimes helps. All of the sound and everything goes that way. It shouldn't hurt you. It might startle you at worst. Any questions before we get started?
Come on.
For drill purposes only, with shell. Load.
Not doing it right. Don't worry about it.
Prime. Here in a second, it is going to go boom. Fire! Ceasefire, clean the base. And that's what a cannon looks like when it goes boom.
Cool, huh?
Any questions? It's again time to stump the interpreter. Somebody's got to have a question.
That's so loud.
I still like that cabin though.
Neat, look at it.
Yeah.
What's this trail?
It leads you back down there.
Oh,
I can hold it, Mom. Mom. Okay. I can hold it.
okay.
They must have held some kind of barbecue like he was talking about, because there's the tables. Yeah, the little building, baby.
Yeah, look at it.
Yeah, I think they're trying to remodel it, baby.
Too many of those.
I know.
What? Yeah, there's too many of them. What does they eat? They eat here, Daddy?
Yeah.
Oh. The door's locked. I don't know what's in there.
I don't know. It's a pretty cool cabin though, ain't it?
And this is Mama cabin. Mama cabin.
No, I don't think so. I think it's on the other side.
What?
Go inside.
Go inside where?
In here? I don't know if you can.
I think you have to do it with a tour.
Daddy, what do you do? What? I don't know. They eat in this cabin?
Yeah.
They got tables in there? You get in there?
No.
Yeah, you know one of those things like to where you like lay on the ground?
It's trenches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too big. That's so cute.
Now if I try, I'm probably gonna
Don't
fall
stand
through the ground.
right here, Mom.
Oh no.
It's soft.
Really?
Yeah, it's soft. And that's the bathroom. That's,
Yeah.
yep. That's where you peeing. Not get dead. Daddy,
What are we doing?
you're afraid for a second.
If that's the case, if that thing's gonna happen next weekend, that would be fun to go to.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
Oh, we're heading back? That would be. I'll bet you there.
Yeah. Maybe I can go down here and ask the guy.
What? Can we go inside?
No, Ginger, not to go inside the
I would
cabin.
love to ask.
I'm talking about the reenactment at the battlefield of Resaca. Because it's actually kind of cool that they're kind of bringing us back. I think he's saying they're going to be firing this thing off until like 3:30.
Oh.
So
36 here. Hey, there's another trailer.
no, that one you can't go on
Oh, stalls.
because on the 29th of May, like he was saying, is when they're going to do the they're going to be doing the reenactment here at Pickett's Mill. So that one will be pretty cool. I don't know how you're going to be able to do it because it was mostly woods around here. You know?
Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't even down here that field.
Probably. That's where I'm thinking it's going to be at. It's down there, right there in that field.
Mhm.
That's where I'm thinking.
I'm surprised.
That's a pretty cool.
I'm surprised I haven't heard it. So I'm surprised that they haven't shot another one off. Because if they do, I'm probably going to have a wet pants day.
There you go.
Right when I say that. The wet pants now? No, but right when I say that, it happened. That's what sucked about it.
Dad, that scared me. Like, my back scared me. Why are you doing
Right when I say it, it happens.
Why are you doing it in 100 days?
It happens. That's what's
Ginger.
is that right when I say that.
We're on a battlefield. It's going to happen.
What?
Right when I say it, it happens.
Daddy,
What?
you get in the car and wait what chips you get done.
You just walk
Are there
and
more
enjoy the
people down
day. Yeah, Ginger, there's probably other people that came here and wanted to witness
For sure, that's what
They're-
they're talking about.
witness the firing cannon. You know, to actually be able to see a cannon be fired that was something that was used back in the Civil War is pretty cool to be able to relive it. It's a lot of steps even to load a cannon just as well as it was to load one of those muskets. So, you know, you can see the high casualty rate.
Oh, look at this flower right here.
But you can look at that gun and then look at the guns evolve throughout the year. It's just crazy.
Yeah. They have weird things.
Should need to ask about that. I wonder if they're the ones that do the battle over Zaka.
I might need to go to the bathroom when we get down here. Oh, I will.
Down there.
Is that where we're headed?
Yeah.
Do they have stalls?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's horrifying. Yeah.
I hope you're lying to me because I don't like stalling those. I wonder, wait, why do they, every time there's a pork pie, there's always a moon on it? Like Shrek. It's Shrek.
Alright, you guys, so we are going to continue our journey through Dallas, Georgia, and it has led us to another battle here at New Hope, which was led by Hood's Army Corps, Major General Alexander Stewart's division. Then you have all these different divisions, like the 32nd and the 58th Alabama. So there was many different Alabama regiments here that was battling against Major General Joseph Hooker's divisions, and then there's Gary's 2nd Division, as well as Butterfield. So these, and then if you flip it over on this side, there is a memorial for the Confederate victory here, and it says, in memory of the Confederate soldiers of the Army of Tennessee who fought and died here. Now, if you walk over here with me, and we will be going over there to the cemetery where there was a place called the Hellhole that actually took place. It was a very decisive battle where a lot of men were lost. But right here, the Battle of New Hope took place on May 25th, 1864. This sign represents the Confederate dug trenches. As you can see, these are some of the trenches that the Confederate armies dug in a line of defense of the Federal troops that was coming through. And you got another one right here. As you can see, it kind of has some trees to it. So that is actually pretty cool. And then if we walk right over here, it talks a little bit more of the battle. So the Battle of New Hope occurred on Wednesday, May 25th, 1864, when Federal Major General Joseph Hooker's 20th Corps of Major General George Thomas Army of Cumberland advanced southward to New Hope Church, crossing the bridge over Pumpkinville Creek at Owens Mill, 3 miles to the north. The 3 divisions of Hooker's Corps were formed in columns of brigades for the assault, with Williams first, followed by Butterfield, then Garris about 5 p.m. The Federals began their advance against the Confederate Major General Alexandra Stewart's division of Lieutenant General John B. Hood Corps. Stewart's 3 brigade were deployed from left to right, with Stowell's Georgia Brigade, including companies A and F of the 40th Georgia Infantry from Paulding County. On the left in the cemetery, Clayton's Alabama Brigade was in the center, Baker's Alabama Brigade on the right, and Gibson's Louisiana Brigade held in reserve. To Stewart's left was Major General Thomas Hindman's division. To his right, Major General Carter Stevenson's division. And then it just kind of gives you a little bit more of Eldridge Battalion of the Confederate Artillery consisted of Stafford's Mississippi Battalion and many other divisions, as well as or many other battalions, artillery, and whatever else was used to continue this fight. Now, this was a Confederate victory, as well as a Confederate victory at Pickett's Mill, which was a significant blow to Sherman's march to Atlanta, which actually kind of put it on halt for a little while. But eventually Sherman was able to bounce back. And if you guys are not familiar, he was able to successfully capture Atlanta and eventually burn it and continue his march to the sea, which is Savannah, Georgia, and was able to eventually capture Savannah. And ultimately that was basically the end of the Civil War, because at that same time General Lee was surrendering to Grant at the courthouse in Virginia. Now, this is General Hooker's report of 1,665 Federal casualties. Confederate losses were about 450. So if you see right here, the Federal troops had a significant blow to their forces at this battle. Now, this monument was dedicated on May 25th, 2014 by General William J. Hardy Camp, sons of Confederate veterans and patriotic citizens who generously contribute during the sanctuary of the war between the states. So we're going to go ahead and take a walk over here, and then there's a memorial over there. I'll get back on the camera and we'll talk a little bit about it as well, and then we'll make our way down to the cemetery and take a stroll through there and some of the Confederates that are buried there. But I hope that you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, and once you guys subscribe to my channel, make sure you guys share this video with anybody who is interested in learning more about the historical events of the Civil War. Love you guys. Talk to you guys again soon.